Mr. Gibbs with theboxingvoice.com in association with FightHype.com here with heavyweight Michael Coffie. So I wanted to get your thoughts obviously on Earl Spence. He got the big fight. I like to call it the Willy Wonka ticket. He's going to get the fight Manny Pacquiao. I mean, if you're Earl, you got to be happy with Al. I mean, you're getting Pacquiao for 2-year layoff. And allegedly, based off my interview with Gilberto Mendoza, the belt will be on the line. Ugas won't be super champion. Champion in recess Pacquiao should be reinstated. What's your thoughts on that unification bout?
Earl for the win. Earl Spence for the win. I've been seeing a lot of stuff where some people are saying Pacquiao will knock Earl out, like Pacquiao in 6 and all those stuff. I'm like, hey, my choice is based off of reality, you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like Earl Spence.
But reality is Pacquiao just took out Keith, who's young,
who also would have got taken out by Earl Spence.
Okay, but Sean didn't take him out. Danny didn't take him out.
And Earl Spence took them out.
I mean, he didn't knock out Danny.
He didn't knock him out, but he beat him convincing.
I mean, some argue that fight with Sean was tight.
It was.
Even with that knockdown.
I feel like the reason why it was tight is because Earl's fought Sean Porter in his style. And he beat him at his style.
Or Sean Porter's style made Earl fight in that manner like he makes everybody else.
There was a little bit of animosity in that build-up. I feel like Earl Spence wanted to beat him at his own game. And he showed he could.
He says that he did want to do that, just like he did with Mikey. He said, you know, he wanted to beat those guys at their own game. But at the end of the day, there's still the possibility that you was forced to fight Porter's fight. That was Porter's fight.
And so let's say he was forced to fight.
When does Porter want to box?
He boxed the last guy he just fought.
Who, Formella?
The dude from
he boxed
Germany. He boxed the shit out of him. He went back and forth between boxing and then just like slugging him. You know what I mean? Let's say he was forced to fight Sean Porter's fight, right? He beat him at his own style.
But that's the thing. If that knockdown doesn't happen, a lot of people like, yo, that's a win for Porter or a draw.
Okay, then if the knockdown doesn't happen, it's a draw. He drawed with him at his own style. That's not Earl Spence. So freaking, if we going by those standards, then I would look at it like if
when the last time Earl been in the ring with a southpaw?
The last time he been in the ring with a southpaw?
Yeah, you can't remember. And the last time
is
nah, man, it's been years, man. It's been years.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
No, man, nobody. Not Algieri, not Lamont.
That's what I'm saying. Algieri, isn't he?
Not Lamont, none. And I might be wrong, and Earl might hear this and think I'm a hater, but I think the last time he faced a southpaw, it was on PBC when he was a prospect and he got hurt. You know what I'm saying?
You talking about the African dude?
Yeah. Oh, so you seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know why I like?
And that African ain't Pacquiao.
Okay, but that was Earl Spence.
We talking about
that was like Earl Spence's 10th or 11th fight.
He never fought another southpaw.
Hey, I mean,
and now you about to fight arguably the best southpaw in boxing.
And
definitely the most awkward. Definitely the most awkward, right?
Yeah. And that same southpaw is about to fight arguably the best the best southpaw in the welterweight division. Also, it works both ways.
Are you really about to say Earl's the best southpaw when Crawford fights out the southpaw position?
I said argue.
Oh, because he want to argue, y'all.
No, because we've already had this conversation about Terrence Crawford or Earl Spence, and you know my pick. We argued this. You know what I'm saying? You know my pick. But I'm not biased.
Who's your pick?
I picked Terrence Crawford. And that's who I picked.
So why would you say arguably the best welterweight?
Because
southpaw.
Because there's an argument for who's the best welterweight right now. Arguably, it's out of 2 guys, in my opinion. It's either Terrence Crawford or it's Earl Spence. Some people gonna lean towards Terrence Crawford. Like me, I would probably edge it to Terrence Crawford. But I would be a fool to just dismiss the people who go for Earl Spence. Like, what do you mean? Terrence Crawford will walk all over Earl Spence. I don't believe that to be true neither.
So if Pacquiao beats him, I've been asking every professional boxer and trainer, if he beats Earl, does that surpass Mayweather's legacy, or does that loss to Mayweather never allow you to surpass him?
No, I still don't believe that it surpasses Mayweather's legacy. I personally believe that Mayweather has done, it's going to take a lot for one individual fighter to pass what Mayweather has done.
Yeah, but at 40 years old and over 40, Pacquiao, if hypothetically speaking he beats Earl, would have beaten Broner, Thurman, Earl in his 40s.
Okay, and that's by choice.
So we make George Foreman great for winning a world title after 40 when he beat Michael Moore. I mean, this dude ain't just win a world title. He beaten 3 of the most youngest, lively welterweights and 140 pounders out there.
But it's by choice. Who's to say that if Mayweather didn't stay in, he wouldn't have beat all these guys? We don't know. So therefore, we can only go off of like his accomplishments as an active boxer. We're not talking about this last fight. We're talking about as an active boxer. You know what I'm saying? Where the fights count for his record. I still think he's done so much more. Everybody gets so caught up on his last 6 fights when he fought in a style. And even hold on. Everybody tries to say, Mayweather is a runner, right? He's a running artist, right? Whenever I hear somebody say that, I look at it like, oh, you must have just started watching Mayweather fight his last 6 fights when he signed that Showtime deal. Because he didn't run against Canelo. He fought Canelo in the pocket for the most of the fight. He fought him in the pocket and he beat him. Convincingly beat him. Arguably every round. And then look at when he was Pretty Boy. Pretty Boy could have went with hardly getting touched. He could have kept their connection percentage very low. But Pretty Boy would bite down on his mouthpiece and go in there and bang. He would bang, he would box. He would bang, he would box, and get the job done and win. Man, listen, Mayweather has done too much.
So Pacquiao could do nothing to surpass that legacy.
I didn't say he could do nothing, but I don't think just beating, if he was to beat Earl, which I don't see happening, but if he was
exactly though, you don't see it happening, but then if he becomes unified at 40, like 4 or 3 or 2, that's crazy. 3 belts.
People also didn't see Mayweather beating Canelo until he beat him, and then that's when it became, oh, it's because he got him early. When in any other circumstance, what do they say? The younger fighter has the advantage. But somehow Mayweather beats the younger fighter. All of a sudden, oh, he got him early. Oh, if he would have got him in his prime, Mayweather wasn't in his prime when he beat him.
You love yourself some Mayweather.
Cause he's nice. Like it's undeniable. Anybody acting
why he ain't get that knockout versus Logan Paul bum ass?
Logan Paul was a heavyweight. Everybody's so stuck on, oh, well, he's not a boxer. It doesn't matter. You think put Monster Inoue in the ring with a 250-pound regular average Joe street fighter.
Bruh.
Them punches ain't doing nothing.
He should have stopped him to the body. You know it and I know it. You expected him to stop this novice.
How could you stop a dude who weighs like 215 pounds and he's hugging you the whole fight?
Because he's not as accurate as you. He doesn't understand the sport like you.
He was hugging him.
First of all, it's Mayweather's fault. He ain't use a jab. You know it. He ain't used no jab.
Because he didn't have to against a 215-pound.
If he used the jab, he probably would have got some body work in.
He was hitting him with this.
He'd have got some body work in. He'd used that jab and maybe he'd have stopped that dude. He was fighting like it was a 12-round fight. He fought like a 12-round fight.
Bottom line, what I saw a welterweight go in there and beat a heavyweight. I saw a welterweight beat a heavyweight, and the heavyweight, who was initiating all the clinches?
The heavyweight.
Exactly. How can I punch someone who keeps hugging me? And then when we're hugging, and when they in the clinch and the ref is saying break, he wouldn't let him go.
I don't know, man. I thought he was going to give us a knockout, honestly. I was let down.
I knew he was going to win, I tell you that much. And mind you, apparently there was no judges, so there's no official winner or loser, but...
Which is even worse.
To give Logan Paul...
Exactly. Logan got a moral victory.
No, you can't give a moral victory.
He got a moral victory. He went 8 with Floyd Money Mayweather.
Nah, son.
Bruh, you crazy.
More victories don't count.
I get in the ring with 4 and go 8. I'm good.
I think it's more so just because it's Mayweather. Because they also tried to give the moral victory to Conor McGregor. Oh,
no,
yes.
No.
They said Conor McGregor was going to win. Then he loses, and then what do they say? Oh, for someone who's never boxed before, he did pretty good. No, he didn't.
No.
He did horrible. They also tried to give the moral victory. The first Fury Wilder Fury fight. They try to give Fury the moral victory. No. Listen, you won or you lost. That's it.
Or you drew.
Those are the only things that I see when I go on boxing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see no M that signifies moral victory. That doesn't count.
Majority decision.
You know what I'm saying?
Moral decision. Nah. So obviously you watch Mayweather, Logan Paul. Jake Paul got a 3-fight deal with Showtime. He's fighting Tyrone Woodley. Do you know Mr. Woodley?
Yeah.
And what do you expect from him in this fight?
I hope we win, man. I hope we beat him, man.
Wow.
Because Jake Paul's lazy. Like, he's such a lazy dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't even about him being a YouTuber
Wait,
or
what's
anything
the
like
difference
that.
between you and Jake Paul? You started late?
No, it don't have nothing to do with him starting late.
Oh.
Like, someone asked, why am I not more boisterous and da-da-da? Because that's just not my style. That's like, you know,
Jake Paul style.
Talk about it, be about it. He talks too much. Same reason why I said good riddance to Billy Joe Saunders. They do too much. They do the most. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with talking your talk because this is a competitive sport. You're supposed to talk your talk, but they do the most. You know what I'm saying? Like Jake Paul, he said he's corny to me. You know what I'm saying? He's a cornball. And growing up in Brooklyn, New York, in the 90s, that was one of the worst things to be called, was a cornball. And to me, he's a cornball. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but wouldn't you say that it's because you're coming up in the 90s, like what he's doing and even what Billy Joe did allowed them to get the biggest payday of their careers? Even Logan.
Yeah, because
being boisterous, calling people out, it got Logan 20 million. It got Billy 8 million.
True story.
And this kid just did 1 point something on pay-per-views and a 3-fight deal with Showtime.
And that was their way, because that's something that I feel like they had to do to get to that bag. But there's plenty of people who didn't have to do that to get to the bag. Earl Spence don't do that.
But it's a longer route.
Earl Spence don't do that, and he get the bag. It was only a short. Come on, it was only a short route for Jake Paul, because Jake Paul is bringing. He's famous, and he's coming into boxing. Yeah. Most boxers aren't famous.
But
you know what I'm saying?
But his fame comes from being who you dislike.
No.
Yes.
His fame comes from being who I dislike. I dislike those type of dudes in boxing. In the YouTube world, do what you do. I ain't got no issues with that. And you know what? If that's what he wants to do in boxing, cool. It's just not for me.
That's strange though, because like, all right, like I don't watch other sports, but I know Bo Jackson played multiple sports, and he was able to do that because he was good in one. Mm-hmm. So it allowed a completely different sport to believe in him and offer him a contract. That's what happened with Jake. It's like he's killing it with YouTube and has a fan base.
Yep,
so that gave him a contract in boxing. It's like, why wouldn't you?
But that analogy doesn't work, because you're talking about someone who went from sport to sport versus someone who went from YouTube to a sport.
I mean, but why wouldn't you? I guess why wouldn't you admire it more? Because he wasn't an athlete, and he's competing on the high level now, showing you that he took it serious.
He's not competing on the high level.
Whoa!
That's one. He's not competing on the high level.
Ben Askren is a fucking fighter. He was an MMA guy. Like, it's not like he fought some dude off the street, or
you can say he's competing at high level if he was competing against those guys in their sport.
How about this? Isn't Ben Askren and Tyrone Woodley better opponents than 99% of regular professional boxers' first 5 fights?
No.
What? Yo, you tripping. You know you lying, man. Come on, man.
because
them dudes that they get.
I would say Tyrone Woodley. Yeah, Ben Askren.
Oh, but you going based off how he looked, not what he done.
Not even how at his physical. Have you ever seen him stand up in the UFC?
I don't watch UFC.
His stand up is trash. He's a wrestler. Tyrone Woodley, he stands up in the UFC. You know what I'm saying? Even Conor McGregor, he stands up in the UFC. Now, freaking, in my opinion, their stand up is cool and it's probably elite for the UFC, but not for boxing. They don't throw the same kind of punches that boxers throw.
So this is my thing though, again. When you was 3-0, he's 3-0. So who you fought on your 4-0 fight?
When I'm gonna keep it a buck. I could barely watch my fights when I was like 3-0 or 4.
All right, when you was 4-0, would your opponent beat Tyrone Woodley? No, the fuck he won't.
No.
I think so. How you can't get this man credit? He fighting better opposition than most boxers, man. It's just the truth.
But you know what? Somebody like me who didn't have a long amateur background.
He don't either. I got him, y'all. He don't either.
Someone like me who didn't have a long amateur background, I was still getting my feet wet even in the beginning of my program.
So is he.
Is his third fight, right?
Ben Askren.
All right. Is it better than, say, a Shakur Stevenson's third fight?
Probably yes.
No.
Google it.
No.
Google it.
No, it was not.
I'm going to Shakur. I'm glad
and
I'm
Shakur Stevenson, who was an elite amateur fighter, he could do that because he didn't need to get his feet wet when he came in. He probably was already better than like the majority of the guys in his weight class. You know what I'm saying? Like from the minute he stepped into the pros. You know what I'm saying? Somebody like me, I needed to get my feet wet.
Tell you, nobody's fighting the competition of Jake Paul. Nobody. I just pulled up. I pulled up Shakur.
I give you that when it comes to Tyrone Woodley, but not the other guy, man.
Bruh, nobody's third fight was Ben Askren, man, or someone on that level. No one. Look, Shakur's third fight. Shakur's third fight. Hold on. Fuck. Nah, it ain't gonna work. Well, here you go, man. Look, my man's 4-3-1. David Michael Paz.
Experience. He got experience in the ring.
He got more experience.
How you say his name?
I don't know
how to say his name.
Got his ass kicked. Is how you say his name.
Zero experience in the boxing ring, and it showed from the moment the bell rung. Son didn't know how to hold his hands up. Son didn't know how to. He didn't even know how to step back and defend himself.
Would that dude, the Shakur for Michael Paz, beat Ben Askren?
Yes. But I mean, probably not. But I feel like more so because he was like 122 pounds.
Nah, you just gotta admit, you gotta be like, you know what? I never sat and thought about it. He is fighting better opposition than the normal boxer.
I wouldn't say he's fighting better opposition than a normal boxer. I would say he's fighting good opposition for someone who is not.
Do you know that only Lomachenko fought names on his second and third and fourth fight? Nobody else, man. Dudes don't do that. They just don't do it. You can't name another fighter. Like Loma fought a nobody in his first fight to get ranked. Second fight was Orlando. Then I think he had a tune-up in between. Then he had Gary again. Like nobody does that. But Jake Paul does. You gonna respect him after this fight because he gonna beat Woodley.
I don't think you're gonna beat
Woodley. Little as hell. I met him. He little.
Little?
He's short, man.
I ain't never seen him.
He's short. I hope the height don't.
Well, yeah, I saw the face-off that they did that first press conference or whatever. He was short.
He's short.
But what that got to do with
And he lost his last 4 in MMA before getting released. Now he getting this. So it's like, you know.
We've yet to see how Jake Paul responds to getting cracked to his jaw, though.
You're right.
And we've seen Woodley get cracked in his jaw, and we've seen him fight on. We've yet to see that happen with Jake Paul. So who's to say that Woodley ain't gonna crack him? He could close his eyes and crack him to the jaw.
So all I want to know is that after this, you a Jake fan if he beats Woodley?
I wouldn't say I'm a Jake fan, but I can respect him.
You gonna pick against him after this? If he gets it right, if he
depending on who he fight. Now, if he fight a legitimate boxer, Yeah, I would definitely pick against him. You know what I'm saying? But if he's fighting like another YouTuber,
But what if he starts Tyrone the way he did Ben? You ain't gonna change your mind on
against a boxer?
Against a boxer.
No.
You know he rumored to fight Mayweather. That's what the whole thing is. He's supposed to fight both brothers.
He will lose.
They say he's the better fighter.
Out of him and his brother?
Yeah.
That's not saying much. I'm sorry. That's not saying much.
Well, the brother went 8.
He went 8 hugging. It was a hug fest.
He landed a 2-piece. That shit is, he got
behind Mayweather's head. He landed the 2-piece with this part of his hand, people. This part of his hand to this part of Mayweather's head.
And that's why
he was like this.
And that's why Jake is the better boxer. So where Logan messed up, Jake capitalizes.
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
You just listen. Every professional I'm talking to, they like, oh, he didn't get the stoppage because Logan's a heavyweight. So what is Jake? What is Jake? He ain't any smaller.
Okay.
So now he not smaller and he's better.
Listen, but I'm not. Look, with these Mayweather exhibitions, I'm not going into the fight looking for Mayweather to knock them out. All I'm saying is he's gonna win, and that's exactly what he's been doing.
He better be careful on the Jake one.
I think he gonna beat him. I think because Mayweather is a smart fighter. If he even senses that, okay, Jake Paul, he has way better chance than his brother does, then he'll actually use his legs. Remember, he did not use his legs against Logan Paul.
No, he can't. He
walked his ass down. You know what I'm saying? If he does peep that, oh, Jake Paul got cracked, you know what I'm saying? Or and he has like a more legitimate boxing skill set. All he had to do is start using his legs, and that'll be the end.
His 44-year-old legs versus a 22-year-old, 23-year-old.
Don't even matter. That junk does not matter. Mayweather, what he displayed as a 44-year-old against Logan Paul was that first of all, he could hold punches even to the back of the head because he probably took like 100 of them. You know what I'm saying? And he walked him down. like that's my whole thing. He was walking him down, and all Logan Paul did was hug him, rabbit punch him, not break when the ref said break. Kept looking up at the clock. I don't know what he was whispering in Mayweather's ear when they were in the clinch. I don't know what he was saying to him, but that's all Logan Paul really did. And then he gets credit just for going 8.
Crazy.